I'm sorry, Ms. Reyes, your surgery authorization was cancelled. At first, I thought the nurse had the wrong patient. I was already wearing the hospital bracelet. I'd already signed intake forms. They'd already wheeled me halfway toward pre-op while monitors tracked my heart rhythm through sticky wires taped across my chest. And now everyone around me had suddenly stopped moving. What do you mean cancelled? I asked. The billing administrator looked uncomfortable. She lowered her voice like she didn't want the people nearby hearing this. The payment account tied to your surgery was emptied this morning. My ears started ringing. No, I whispered, that's impossible. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. I tried sitting up straighter in the wheelchair, but pain shot through my chest so fast it stole my breath. My uncle handled the account, I said. The money's there. Nobody answered me right away. That silence scared me more than the words did. Then the elevator doors opened behind us. My Uncle Victor walked out carrying expensive shopping bags like he was coming back from a shopping trip instead of a hospital. He looked relaxed, fresh haircut, designer shoes. And hanging from his belt loop, brand new truck keys. The second he saw the hospital staff surrounding me, his expression tightened. What's going on? He demanded. The administrator answered carefully. The surgery fund was withdrawn. Victor let out a sharp breath and immediately stepped in front of me. Okay, everybody calm down, he said with this fake laugh I'd heard 1,000 times before. The hospital changed numbers on us. I'm handling it. I stared at the truck keys swinging from his hand. Victor, I said slowly, what did you do? His face changed instantly. Don't start this here, he muttered. Don't embarrass me in front of these people. I felt my stomach drop. Because he didn't deny it. I tried pushing myself out of the wheelchair, but dizziness slammed into me so hard my vision blurred. Victor grabbed the wheelchair handles immediately. We're leaving, he said. Before he could move me, another voice cut across the hallway. Why is my patient leaving before surgery? Dr. Levin walked toward us fast, still wearing surgical gloves around his wrists. His eyes moved from me to Victor gripping my chair, to the frightened look on the nurse's face. The payment account failed, the administrator explained quietly. Victor answered before I could speak. It's temporary, we'll reschedule. No, I said weakly. Victor turned sharply toward me. Dr. Levin crouched beside my wheelchair. Ms. Reyes, he said calmly, did you personally authorize any withdrawals from your surgery fund? I looked down at my trembling hands. The money came from donations after my mom died, I said. My uncle handled all of it, I never even saw the account myself. The surgeon's expression changed immediately. Did you approve any transfers? No. Victor stepped forward. She's confused right now. But Dr. Levin had already pulled out his phone. He looked directly at me. Don't leave this floor. Then he made a call. I need hospital legal down here right now. For the first time that day. My uncle looked scared. Victor grabbed the wheelchair handles again the second Dr. Levin walked away. We're not staying here, he hissed. I looked up at him. Why are they calling legal? Because hospitals panic over everything, he snapped. You're making this worse. He started pushing me toward the elevator. I barely had the strength to stop him, but I locked my arms against the wheelchair sides. Stop. His jaw tightened. People in the hallway were staring now. You don't understand how much I've done for you, he said under his breath. After your mother died, who took you in, who paid your bills, who drove you to appointments? I stayed quiet. Because part of me still felt guilty. Victor had controlled almost every part of my life since my mom died 2 years earlier. My medications went through him. My insurance paperwork went through him. Even the online fundraiser had been connected to his email and bank account, because he said I was too overwhelmed to deal with it myself. Back then I believed him. Now I wasn't so sure. Dr. Levin returned with a hospital legal representative and another nurse beside him. Ms. Reyes, the surgeon said gently, I need to ask you something privately. Victor immediately cut in. There's nothing private between family. Dr. Levin ignored him completely. That alone shocked me. Most people backed down around Victor once he raised his voice. The nurse wheeled me a few feet away, while Victor argued with legal staff behind us. Dr. Levin crouched beside me again. Do you know how much money was supposed to be in your surgery account? I opened my mouth, then stopped. I didn't know. Not even roughly. The realization hit me so hard I felt embarrassed admitting it. I know. The surgeon exchanged a look with the legal representative. Then the nurse quietly said something that made my stomach twist. Your uncle instructed staff not to contact you directly, she explained. He told us stress could trigger complications. I stared at her. You tried contacting me. Multiple times. Behind us, Victor's voice rose sharply. This is ridiculous. I told you the money's coming back. Dr. Levin stood. Then show us proof. Victor froze. Just for a second. But I noticed it. And suddenly little things from the last few months started replaying in my head. The collection calls he used to silence whenever I entered the room. The expensive clothes he suddenly started wearing. The fundraiser updates he stopped showing me. The time I asked how much we'd raised and he answered, enough, before changing the subject. The legal representative opened a folder in front of him. Printed bank records spilled across the table. Victor's confidence cracked immediately. The woman adjusted her glasses and looked directly at him. Mr. Reyes, she said carefully, why were thousands of dollars transferred into an account belonging to someone named Vanessa Cole? Victor went completely silent. By the time they moved us into the consultation room, half the floor seemed to know something was wrong. Two nurses stood near the wall pretending not to listen. A billing manager sat across from Victor with a laptop open. Hospital administration had joined us too. And Victor hated every second of it. This is unbelievable, he barked. You're humiliating me over a paperwork issue. It stopped being a paperwork issue when over $200,000 disappeared, the billing manager replied. My chest tightened. 200,000. I looked at Victor slowly. That much was raised. He wouldn't look at me. The manager turned the screen toward Dr. Levin. The withdrawals happened over several weeks, smaller transfers at first, then larger ones. Which means, Dr. Levin said calmly, this wasn't an emergency decision. Victor slammed his palm against the table. I said I was replacing the money. The room went quiet. My heart dropped. Replacing it. Not protecting it. Replacing it. A nurse near the doorway frowned at one of the transfer records. Wait, Vanessa Cole. Victor's head snapped toward her. The nurse looked uncomfortable. I know that name. Nobody spoke. Then she added quietly, that's his girlfriend. I felt like the floor disappeared underneath me. The church fundraiser. My mother's insurance money. The donations from my co-workers. Everything people gave to keep me alive. Gone. Victor turned toward me immediately. Imelda, don't listen to them. I stared at him across the table. Did you spend my surgery money? His face hardened. After everything I sacrificed for you, this is what you think of me. He still hadn't answered the question. Dr. Levin stepped forward before I could speak again. There's another issue, he said. Victor looked furious now. What now? The surgeon folded his arms. Your niece's condition worsened 3 times over the last 4 months. I looked up at him. Dr. Levin continued carefully. Each time we attempted to schedule surgery sooner, payment delays came from you. I felt sick. Victor had told me the hospital kept postponing. The surgeon looked directly at me now. We recommended earlier intervention multiple times. Every memory suddenly changed shape in my head. Every delay. Every excuse. Every problem with insurance. It had never been the hospital. It had been him. Security quietly appeared outside the consultation room after Victor raised his voice again. "You people are acting like she was dying tomorrow," he shouted. The room fell dead silent. Even Victor seemed to realize what he'd just admitted. Because that sentence meant he knew exactly how serious my condition was. Dr. Levin's phone buzzed. He stepped outside briefly to answer it while Victor sat there breathing hard, staring at the table. And then, for the first time all day, he smirked, like he thought he could still control this somehow. A minute later, Dr. Levin returned. "Your nephew," he started, then corrected himself immediately. "Your niece is going into surgery today." Victor's face drained white. Then he stood up so fast his chair crashed backward onto the floor. And he ran for the door. Victor almost made it to the elevators before hospital security stopped him. I could hear him yelling from down the hallway, while nurses rushed me back toward pre-op. "You can't hold me here." A security guard blocked the elevator doors calmly. "Nobody said you're under arrest, sir, but hospital legal has instructed you not to remove any financial documents or contact linked account holders." Victor's face looked completely different now. Not confident. Not angry. Panicked. Meanwhile, my body was starting to fail me. A nurse clipped another monitor onto my finger, while another adjusted oxygen tubing under my nose. "Heart rate's climbing," someone said quietly. Dr. Levin walked beside my bed as they rolled me through another set of doors. "We're moving fast now," he told me. I looked at him weakly. How am I still getting surgery if the money's gone? He glanced toward the hallway where Victor was still arguing with security. "Because I made a call. That caught my attention immediately." Dr. Levin lowered his voice. "I contacted the hospital foundation director and legal counsel. Once financial exploitation became likely, emergency charity authorization was approved." I stared at him. "You did that for me. You needed surgery weeks ago," he said bluntly. That sentence hit harder than anything else. Weeks ago. Not today. Not eventually. Weeks ago. Meaning every extra day I struggled to breathe, every night I woke up gasping, every collapse. None of it had to happen. As nurses prepared me for surgery, I could still hear Victor shouting through the hallway. Then new voices joined in. Legal staff. Fast, sharp, serious. One sentence drifted through the partially open doors. Casino withdrawals matching fundraiser deposits. My stomach turned. Another voice answered, "There are also gambling markers tied to his accounts." A nurse beside me exchanged a look with another staff member. Then someone else said the words that finally destroyed every last excuse I'd made for him. We confirmed the digital approvals came from his phone and home IP address. Forged. He forged my authorization. This hadn't been panic. It hadn't been temporary borrowing. It had been planned. The realization hurt worse than the surgery waiting ahead of me. Because Victor hadn't just stolen money. He'd watched me get weaker while pretending to help me survive. Suddenly, his voice exploded down the hallway again. This wouldn't have happened if she had just trusted me. The hallway went silent after that. Dr. Levin stepped over and pushed the operating room doors shut behind us, sealing the noise outside. And for the first time all day, I started crying. Not because I thought I might die, but because I finally understood something horrifying. Victor thought I would. Dr. Levin noticed immediately. He stepped beside the bed while anesthesia staff prepared the IV. "You focus on waking up," he said quietly. "We'll handle the rest." The lights above me blurred as they wheeled me fully into the operating room. And just before the anesthesia pulled me under, I saw 2 police officers step off the elevator outside. The first thing I heard after surgery was a monitor beeping beside me. Slow, steady. Alive. My eyes struggled to focus. Everything looked washed out beneath the ICU lights, and my throat felt raw from the breathing tube they'd removed. Then I saw Dr. Levin sitting beside my bed. "You made it," he said. I tried speaking, but my voice barely worked. "The surgery was successful," he told me. "There were complications from the delay, but your heart responded well." Delay. Even after everything, that word still hurt. I looked around weakly. "Victor." Dr. Levin's expression changed slightly. "He's not here." A nurse stepped into the room to check my IV lines. She smiled when she saw I was awake. "You scared everybody," she said softly. "People stayed after their shifts to push your approval through." I stared at her. "What do you mean?" "The foundation board didn't even hesitate once legal explained what happened," she said. "Half this floor was making calls for you." That nearly broke me right there. Because strangers fought harder to save me in one afternoon than my own uncle had in months. Later that evening, a detective came into my room carrying a folder thick enough to barely close. He spoke carefully, like he didn't want to overwhelm me. "We've confirmed your uncle transferred the money gradually over several months," he explained. "Church donations, fundraiser deposits, insurance payouts, everything." I shut my eyes. The detective continued. "He used forged digital authorizations under your name. Most were tied directly to his phone and internet records." "And the truck?" I asked quietly. The detective nodded once. "Partially paid for using the surgery funds." I turned my face away. "But he wasn't finished. There's evidence he intentionally delayed payment releases to the hospital while trying to cover outstanding gambling debts." That part hit hardest, because it meant every time I struggled to breathe while waiting for surgery. He already knew why it wasn't happening. The detective carefully placed several printed screenshots on the tray beside my bed. Messages, church members asking Victor for updates, co-workers begging him to tell them whether I was okay, people thanking him for taking such good care of me. I started crying again before I could stop myself. Not loudly, just silently, because while everybody believed he was protecting me, he was draining the money meant to keep me alive. Over the next week, everything collapsed around him. Church donors demanded answers publicly once the fraud investigation became known. Family members turned on each other defending or condemning him. Victor's girlfriend handed over account records after investigators traced transfers into her bank account. The luxury truck was repossessed. His accounts were frozen. And eventually, police arrested him for fraud, identity theft, and financial exploitation of a dependent adult. I didn't go to court right away. I was still learning how to walk long hospital hallways without losing my breath. But for the first time in years, every medical decision belonged to me. Not Victor. Me. Hospital advocates helped me regain control of my finances and paperwork. A verified recovery fundraiser was created in my own name this time. And people donated again. Not because they pitied me, because they were angry someone tried to profit from my death. A few days before I was discharged, Dr. Levin visited my room one last time. I asked him the question that had stayed in my head ever since surgery. "How did you know something was wrong so fast?" He leaned against the doorway quietly for a second. "Because I've seen it before," he admitted. "Years ago, another patient had a caregiver controlling all communication and finances. By the time we uncovered it, it was too late." I stayed silent. "When your uncle answered every question for you," he continued, "and when you said you'd never even seen your own account records," he shook his head slightly, "I recognized the pattern immediately." Weeks later, I finally walked out of the hospital on my own. Slowly, carefully, but standing. Reporters waited outside asking questions about Victor as cameras flashed toward me. I ignored every single one, because for the first time in a long time, my life no longer revolved around him. Near the curb, volunteers from the church waited beside a car to take me home. I paused before getting inside and looked down at the healing scar across my chest. That scar was supposed to become my grave. Instead, it became proof I survived him. The money he stole was meant to save my life, but exposing him is what finally gave me one.